We are back in the black hole of real estate, and we got questions about the market and what's going on. And I'm here to tell you, this is really, truly a tale of two markets. This is your host, Ron Wysakarski, for the black hole of real estate. And we truly are in an area where there are really just two different markets occurring at the same time. And so here's what I mean. From a seller's perspective, the two markets are those that are priced in the market, priced attractively, where buyers will notice the property, book showings, make offers, and successfully negotiate contracts with those sellers. And if you think about the things that matter most in a sale of a home from a seller's perspective, it's going to be the location, of course, condition, and which is 100% in control of the seller. Marketing, that's in the control of the agent that they select, or if they sell it on their own, then it's up to them to market the property. And if you're going to talk about anything else, well, that'd be price. So if you're priced attractively, positioned properly, where buyers are going to notice this listing, then you should have showings, offers, and contracts. And I think it makes sense when you just view it from that lens. It's when we're not appropriately priced. It's when maybe we don't have a prime location, or we lack perfect condition, or substandard marketing. See, things are going to fall off from there. So it's got to be those four. And I'd argue if you had those four, you may not need anything else to get the property sold, based on the premise of personal representation, or with an agent representing you, being able to accomplish those four things. So now, of course, you want to know, well, what does it mean, if you're not priced in the market? Well, you're priced out of the market. Let's suppose that it's not an ideal location. There's nothing you can do about that. If you back up to a railroad track, there's no moving the railroad track. If you're next to high tension lines, or a busy highway, or the traffic noise is such that you can hear the traffic going by with all the doors and windows closed, probably not an ideal location. And if that's the case, you've got to compensate in some area. Perhaps it's condition, but what if you're in less than perfect condition, or you need a number of repairs? That would cause some buyers to step aside. Let's suppose for a minute you went the inexpensive route, and you get what you pay for, guys. Let's say that you went the cheap route on your agent, and they didn't have a marketing budget, either because they didn't charge enough or because they just don't have a marketing system in place. But whatever that is, let's say you have substandard marketing, or you're selling it by owner and you just don't have a way to syndicate your listings to the masses, and you can't possibly cast the widest possible net if you're missing key elements of marketing. Or maybe you have some semblance of those three things, but you're emotionally attached to the price from 2-3 years ago. My neighbor got that price 3 years ago, and I got the best home on the block, the most perfect lot, the best of everything. I should get more than they got 3 years ago. Well, the gift of timing may or may not be on your side, but the price that was achieved a few years ago, when it was a buying frenzy, the interest rates were lower, and it seems like people were giving up every liberty available by not doing inspections or appraisals, and let's just pay you more than you're asking. I mean, you remember that? Because there are plenty of examples out there where people paid way over the asking price during COVID times. And the times are different right now. It's taking longer to sell properties, and the irrational exuberance of people just bidding on houses like it was eBay or something like that, or online auctions, they've since stopped doing that. So the conditions are such that those things aren't going to work as your strategy right now. So if you're overly optimistic on price, chances are you're not getting any showings, you're not getting any offers, and your response might be, well, we haven't even had an offer to turn down to gauge where the market is. And let's not get it twisted. The reason that you don't have any offers is you're priced way above the market due to your price, condition, location, and marketing. So you're not likely to get any offers. And if you do, it's going to feel offensive because it's way below what you're asking. And these are emotional responses that are going to occur on the part of the seller who's priced out of the market. Now let's flip it over. Is a buyer in the market? Now this is different because for a buyer to be in the market, they need to be ready, willing, and able to buy a house today, funds available to demonstrate and show to a seller, and a well-written offer to make it compelling for a seller to sign, especially if it's below the asking price or below what they would like for the house. So now what's different is the well-written offer. I would suggest, the most basic of terms, a fair escrow, a reasonable amount of inspections without it being too long. So maybe an escrow is 1 or 2% of the offer price. Perhaps 7 to 12 days, somewhere in that range for inspections, maybe not 15. That might be attractive. Not being contingent on the sale of a home. Maybe you're contingent already due to financing, but the least amount of moving parts is going to benefit you. And the offer price, that needs to be in the market too. If it's a brand new listing at $400,000, they're probably not taking $300,000 on the first day or the second day or the first week because the seller feels they got a shot to get most or all of that asking price in the beginning. And maybe the $400 they're pricing at was on the advice of an agent because maybe they wanted to price it at $500. In their mind, emotionally, the seller may have already come down $100, not ready to come down a second $100. And for the buyer, if you are finding a property today that just hit the market, you may not all be that unique. There could be 10, 20, 50, or 100 buyers look at the same property the same way as you are. I don't know that many sellers are going to take a deep drop in the first week or two of a listing because they probably don't have to, and maybe they shouldn't. So if you are a buyer that's in the market, if you're pre-approved, great, have that letter ready. If you're paying cash, have that proof of funds letter ready as well. A clean offer, get it submitted, and cross your fingers they accept the offer. In a lot of markets, the list price to sell price ratio has changed quite a bit. And it was very near 100%, sometimes more in some markets a few years ago. And right now, we're seeing 93, 95% the list price to sell price. So if it was a $400,000 property, 95% is $380. If it was 97%, $370, $372. If it's in those ranges, it's probably the acceptable level, but not necessarily in the first 30 days. It could very well be that the owner is holding out for full price the first 30 days. I might suggest that the market is anticipating a 5% reduction after 30 days, 45 days, something like that, which is still within the range of 95% list to sell ratio. So 93, a little more than that, but it's going to take you 30, 60, 90 days to get there. So making an offer 7 to 10% below on the first day of the listing may not be a path of success. And I'm not saying that you should pay more, but you should understand that being in the market would be making that sort of an offer 30 or 60 days down the road, or with some information, some intel from the seller's representative. They're allowed to tell you they'll take less. Maybe pay attention there. Now, being priced out of the market, that's pretty simple. You're a buyer that doesn't have your proof of funds. You've got a very complicated offer with a lot of moving parts, 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 negotiating points, and an offer price that's about half the asking price on day one. You see, congratulations. Now you're making offers like a wholesaler does. And for the life of me, I get wholesale offers all the time, every day, day in, day out, sometimes multiple times a day. And I'm guessing that a wholesaler just writes hundreds of offers a month and hoping that one sticks. But in my experience, terrible waste of time. Infuriates my clients. They get a little upset about it with the precondition that when you're on the market making lowball offers, you're going to upset some people along the way. And they may not care. So if you're a buyer that's out of the market and you're making offers that you feel like you have to steal the deal, that's great, and maybe you get lucky. But you may alienate a seller that if you really like the house and you attempt to come back, sometimes that seller may remember that offer or the way that you presented it or treated them along the way. They may or may not want to engage with you down the road. And it goes the same for agents in the way that they deliver those offers. We can't refuse to present an offer. But we don't have to sell that offer for the other agent either. So sometimes you have to stand on your own 2 feet. So, pricing in the market for a seller, it's pretty close price-wise where it's going to sell. Out of the market, way above in price. And then you look at conditions and marketing to layer into that as well. So location, absolutely. And on the buy side, in the market, a few moving parts in the offer, pretty close to the listing price in the beginning. Well written. That's a way in. And for a buyer out of the market, just flinging spaghetti at the wall to see what happens, and improperly written offers or verbal offers or phrases or just, hey, here's my term sheet. You see those, I can't think of a time worked in my world, but maybe they're working for somebody else, but I don't recognize that as a strategy that makes a lot of sense. And then finally, if you're looking to make an offer that's way below the asking price, it's probably 30, 60, 90 days down the road before they may even give you a response. Most likely in the beginning, you'll just get rejected without a counteroffer. Maybe down the road you get a little more information, or maybe all right, I don't like that price, but how about this type of counteroffer? That's what I have for you today. So it's absolutely a tale of two markets. I hope this really clarified a few things for you, but the tale of two markets is alive and well. This is Ron Wojciechowski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.